My little sisters, when they were probably around 6 and 8, had an LP record called Under the Musical Mushroom with Mrs. Miggsy. It wasn't music at all. It was stories, or what we used to call in Sunday school object lessons. And my sisters played it so much that I can still repeat some of it word for word. And one of the stories was about a little VW bus and was based on a verse found in the Christian Testament at Hebrews 13:5, where it says, "To be content with such things as you have." And in the story, the little bus complains and complains and complains about being small and not as powerful as the other buses. It whines, it gripes, it annoys its passengers. And then comes a time when the bus has to get through a tight spot and is able, against all odds and because of its size, to deliver its passengers safely home, who then remind the bus not to complain, but to be content. Has anyone ever told you to stop complaining? Isn't that annoying? I hate it when people say that. I mean, it's rude. It disrespects what I'm feeling. I mean, I should be able to talk about the things that are bugging me as much as I want, because sometimes things really suck. And I want to be able to be sure you know how much they suck. I mean, I'm getting old. Parts of my body hurt that never hurt before. My eyesight is worsening. My hearing's not so good. And nobody seems to care or be able to fix me. I hate that. And you know what really pisses me off these days? Automation. Not being able to talk to a real person. Being forced to start with a chat bot. Getting bounced around from one voice recording to another, having to choose from menu options that don't even apply, and then finally maybe talking to someone who doesn't have a clue what to do. It's so annoying. And can we talk about air travel? Especially now. I mean, how can it cost so much to be herded around in tight lines like cattle and forced to take off our shoes and take out our laptops to get screened and then funneled into this flying metal can, all squashed in like sardines in tight seats with no room to move, and only be given a tiny little package of stale pretzels? I mean, why can't it be more humane? I could go on. Couldn't you? It doesn't feel that there's anything to be grateful for. It's really easy to get in a complaining mood and mode because there is so much to complain about. But I don't really like complaining, not any more than I like listening to complainers. It takes up all the air, it makes it hard to get anything done. In general, it's just a big energy squash. Complaining can be such a downer, really it can. So why do we complain? Simply put, by Wikipedia, complaining is a form of communication that expresses dissatisfaction. And dissatisfaction is a real thing. It's justifiable, and it's something that shows up in our lives on a regular basis because, of course, all of the systems of the world are simply not calibrated to please our specific wants and needs. And so we are dissatisfied. Of course, and there's nothing wrong with that, nothing wrong with griping. Complaining is just part of being human, and it's surely not new. The oldest complaint known is in the form of a clay tablet from around 1750 BCE. It's called the E. Nasir Complaint Tablet. It measures about 2 inches by 4.5 inches. And documents a transaction in which a trader allegedly sold substandard copper to a customer who, dissatisfied with the quality, wrote up in a cuneiform complaint addressing the poor service and mistreatment. Now imagine being so unhappy as to spend time carving a tiny little complaint in clay. It must have taken hours. I mean, what a waste of time and energy. I can't imagine anyone doing anything like that. All right, I know I'm being flip. But for sure, Some complaining is a waste. It can be just ruminating on negative feelings and reinforcing them through constant reiteration of the same thing. And this entrenches this path in our brains. So we just keep doing it over and over again. I've heard that this is like wearing muddy glasses. So no matter what's going on, we find something to complain about. And when we're in that rut, we can't find solutions or comfort or different perspectives. We're just stuck in the mud. We can't find the way, as any good humanist would like to do, to be a human who can solve human problems. And yet, let it be known from the rooftops, shout it out, as we did earlier, there are very real things to complain about. We don't need to make a list, but I will a little bit. Violence, unjust systems, politics, disrespect for others, AI, income inequality, big grief for so many things. And these things and so much more are very real concerns that impact real people every day, making lives more and more miserable. It's intolerable, and it has to be complained about. These things have to be named. Life isn't perfect, and suggesting that we should always be happy or grateful or content, never complaining, can actually have a negative impact on us. So it's a conundrum, really. Dr. Robin Kowalski, who's a professor of psychology at Clemson University, was quoted in a New York Times article saying this profound thing: "Yes, it is good to complain. Yes, it is bad to complain. But lest we fall into complaining about complaining, we should hear that complaining sometimes is good. It can be a kind of release. You know, it's like the ancient practice of keening, which is a high-pitched wailing lament that leads a community's grief and even outrage. Complaining can be a way to express raw emotion. It's this way to really vent and to let off steam, and in this way, it's quite helpful. I mean, I don't know about you, but it felt really good to complain together earlier. Because if we don't complain, we can't name the problem, which means we can't face it, which means we can't move through it, which means we can't change it. Complaining connects us with our displeasure, and in so doing, it opens a door to a path towards something different or new, something better. At least, if we can use our dissatisfaction in that way. You know, indeed, complaining has some important functions that connect us with others who are similarly displeased so that we can commiserate and act together. It can help us to more clearly articulate what matters to us or to see where we're spinning our wheels. Again, it's this way to express our emotions, even in cathartic ways. It can allow us to vent about particularly annoying or unjust circumstances. And in that process, it really helps us to regulate ourselves. And especially in times like these, it can be the place where we begin to see what needs to change, and hopefully how we can start to make that change happen. That is, if we choose to use our complaining for good. So what if, even in the throes of incessant griping, we can see that it has a purpose? Can we find even a touch of gratitude for how complaining can let us get it out of our systems and then help us to see what we need to do? What if complaining bred accountability and action? What if in that negative moment we could just simply drink in all that's wrong all that's wrong with being alive, but also find a little bit of gratitude for all that's good in life? That's what I loved about discovering the complaint choirs. Go Google them sometime. I think we will really have to give it a try together at another time, because while they're singing, everybody's complaining, but still they're singing and laughing and having a good time and being creative and creating community. They acknowledge the stuff that's hard, and they keep right on singing. Singing in a group, in the shower, in your head. You know, it just kind of keeps the energy flowing. It allows for human connection. It shows that when we feel displeasure, complaining isn't the only possible response. When we're feeling ungrateful, there are ways to see things differently. The Quaker author Parker Palmer, in his book, A Hidden Wholeness, puts this a little differently. He writes, "When the going gets tough, turn to wonder." Parker asks us to turn to our inner teachers when something makes us angry or uncomfortable or defensive, wondering, why does this spark something in me? And what is this about? Instead of shutting down or blaming or lashing out or just griping, there's an alternative to be found in wondering what else could be true? What am I not seeing? And what's a different way to look at this? What could I do to change or alleviate the pain? Sarah Ban Breathnock, who wrote the Simple Abundance Journal of Gratitude, says that we're struggling in the midst of personal turmoil, when we stumble in the darkness, when we're raging in anger, when we want to hurl things across the room and cry ourselves to sleep. In that moment, gratitude is always waiting patiently to console and reassure us. She says that reassurance is found in gratitude because gratitude allows us to see that there's always a landscape larger than the one we're looking at right now. And what we have to complain about is not all that there is. It can't define us. We don't need to let it limit us. As I was writing this, a lullaby sung by Sinead O'Connor called Lay Your Head Down, was running through my head. It's a song that I love to listen to when I'm feeling hopeless or overwhelmed, in those times when I have a lot to complain about. The song lyrics say, "Sing to me softly your tale of woe. I'll cradle you gently, I won't let go." And then later tells us that we can fly together to the edge and take a look at it and see that it's not as bad as it seems, and there maybe find the key to our dreams. What comforts me is that even when there's a lot to complain about, even when the winds are blowing hard and it seems we're at an impasse, we have each other. A big world is out there. There's more waiting for us, and we can listen to one another and imagine different outcomes and dream together of other possibilities and be held by one another. And for this, I can heave a great sigh, a sigh of relief, and say, anyway, whatever else, I see that the practice of gratitude is available to me, to calm me, to reassure me, to help me turn toward wonder. If we're to wait for everything to be going well, for everything to be okay, I don't think we would ever get out of the complaining rut or be able to find the things that make us come alive. My colleague Janet Parsons has said that expressing gratitude might even be an act of defiance, a conscious decision to accept what is taking place in our lives and in the world just as they are, and that gratitude is a choice to see possibility and what we have right in the moment, no matter what else is going on. There is without a doubt a lot to complain about. There is also, without a doubt, a lot to be grateful for. Sometimes it's true we are just down in the mud together, and other times we're able to fly to the edge and back, holding on to one another. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for the possibilities each moment holds. May it ever be so. Amen.